Ever seen a blind man cross the road, trying to make the other side? Ever seen a young girl growing old, trying to make herself a bride? So what becomes of you, my love?
Now I am become death, the destroyer of birth.
Pray that he's still out there, somewhere.
Well, hello there. Wonderful to be back with you today on Eating While Honey and Locusts. I'm Jessica Knock. I'm joined by the wonderful Dr. Stephen Pidgeon of Sefer Publishing. Week by week, we journey with you together. And it's the A-team. We have John Barr with us. Normally we're together all on the dig, and today we're on Eating While Honey and Locusts, and it's a real pleasure, all three of us, to be with you here today. Before I get into the message and then bring the gentleman on, just a few little announcements. Last week, our program, the Destroyers of the Illuminati, was actually to do with Zen. The program, it got taken off on YouTube, and we were doing so well, just coming back up after things changed. But it's absolutely fine. Please, when you don't find our programs on YouTube, get used to going to Eating Wild Honey and Locusts, our homepage, our actual platform, which is uncensored and safe. It can't be tampered with. There is no one but me that is in charge of that. And there you can watch all the programs. And that's where YouTube is not offering it, you go for all the programs, all the informations, the blogs, and everything that is giving you information about the ministry and where we are, what we're doing, where Dr. Pidgeon is. So two things. Coming up this Saturday, it's the UK and international online gathering. Everyone is welcome. We start purposely at this awkward time, which is like 3:30 to 5:30. So there's enough time for you to have a cup of coffee and go on and join the Shabbat with Dr. P. But this time is 3:30 for our UK people, and then people, if you're in America, EST, this time for this week will be at 11:30. Normally it's slightly earlier when we change our clocks over on Saturday night. But everyone is welcome. It was wonderful being with you last month, and it's just great walking each month and fellowshipping with you, seeing everyone engaged together. And it's actually where we get to meet with our viewers as well. And you're more than just viewers. You're actually, family, people that we work this journey with. We do messages specifically because of you, even because of one of you, if you're in pain or asking questions in a specific way. And that's how much that we care. So please take heed of the date. It's this Saturday, and it's 3:30 to 5:30 UK time. Work that out for your time zone. And you can see we've given access to the Zoom ID and passcode there. So I'll be putting that up intermittently. Stuart is still away. He's just moved homes and has a delay with any broadband signal. So I'm trying to do what he would normally do for moderation as well. The other announcement, which is important, we've got 2 weeks until Dr. P travels to South Africa. Now, these details are the most present that I have. It could have changed. So this is to do with South Africa Passover. Pretoria, if that's still taking place, the dates are the 7th to 8th April. Cape Town definitely is taking place, 13th to the 15th April. 13th, I believe, is a different venue to the ARC venue for the 14th and 15th April. Now, info at Touching His Hem EU, exactly as you see it there, is who you should contact. It's Michael, who is assisting Chris Mack, and he will give you all the information you require as to times, as to venues, and anything else. It's really, if you come directly to me or to Sefer, we have to pass you to these people. There you're going directly to them. And because they're living in that nation, organizing it there, they're the best people poised to give you the information that you require. And do act on that, because you've got less than 2 weeks now. Dr. P and Stephanie start to travel on the 2nd of April. So we have Stephen with us this Tuesday and next Tuesday. And then for a couple of Tuesdays, we're without him because of the time zone difference. But you never know what could happen. And hopefully Chris will be able to do 1 or 2 live broadcasts, but we're not too sure at this stage. He's not too sure. Okay, let's get into the program. You know, last week it was absolutely wonderful. Dr. P joining us whilst he was driving shows you how strategic a driver he is. I would not be able to drive and film and do a program and deliver the content he did at the same time as going on those roads. There's Alaskan roads, the Canadian roads. Oh my goodness, that terrain. But he did so well. And it was a beautiful program to do on David's battle cry, on the actual battle cry. And it really did resonate with so many of you individually, and that is what it's about. You know, everything that we do is with you in mind. Every person that we bring on, when person we work with long term, is with you in mind. It's with the body in mind. It's how we go forward, how Yahuwah can be exalted, his word grown in us and becoming part of our vibrancy, part of our fluency. So it's all about that. So today I pray that you're all keeping strong in faith in Yahuwah, in Yahusha HaMashiach, our Adonai, our mighty one who is sovereign in our lives, his majesty working out in your life. That is our prayer for you today. You know, today, very specifically from my heart to your heart, is about building up your faith, building up my faith, embedded in the crucifix of Yahuwah, the Messiah, our Messiah, who, as I said last week, is the Word made flesh, and the spirit of prophecy. Those 3 things speak loudly and clear to me. They are liberating, and they become my authority. They become how I pray, how I see the word, how I interpret the word, how I move. I pray that it defines me and gives a good testimony, and it becomes your testimony also. That's my prayer for you. That's my hope for you. That's our hope and prayer and desire for you. You know, when you look at it from that perspective, the word becoming flesh and becoming the spirit of prophecy, then it gives you the precipice. It gives you the freedom to trust in the word in the midst of commotions, calamities, spiritual warfares, coming, and personal persecutions, not just persecutions that will happen in the world and that are happening in the world, but what you're going through personally right now. And that means a lot to me. Those words, commotions, calamities, spiritual warfare, persecutions, they are all mentioned in the Olivet Discourse. That's something that I think 2 weeks ago, Stephen, John, and I mentioned in the dig, in the program. So they bring together Matthew 24, Luke 21, and Mark 13. And that's where the Talmudim, if you don't know what that means, that's the apostles or the disciples. They were asking Yahuwah directly about the end times. So that's the focus that I want to speak on today. And you know, that's very much the thrust of Eating Wild Honey always. There, Yahusha tells them, you will see wars and rumors of wars, nations against nation, kingdoms against kingdoms. Incidentally, since asking Stephen that question 2-3 weeks ago, what defines a kingdom, what defines a nation, I did come across that the correct interpretation for a nation is ethnicity. You see, when you look at that, so ethnicity, when you look at it from that definition, it's ethos, so that must be the Greek interpretation of that also, or the root to it. It means people, it means community. So when you see that referred to as in Matthew 24, you understand ethnicity against ethnicity. Well, that makes it more localized. That makes it easier to understand how crucial, how severe, how close to home it is. I think it just breaks it down so that we can understand it. It doesn't seem so far away, so far off, so far-fetched. You can actually see even Ukraine and Russia, ethnicity against ethnicity. Even where Stephen's going in South Africa, look, you know, it might be unspoken, but it's still there, apartheid and the Afrikaans and all these different things. but there's different ways of approaching, and you can see it, and you can see how these things from then till now shape the world that we're in and prophetically where we are, and everything has a relevance and a significance. So when you look at that in a new way, it's ethnicity against ethnicity, famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Guys, you know, we have seen the shortages of foods, even ones that are man-made, but also it happening. Also pestilences and earthquakes. You see in veracity increasing. I think it's been on this program maybe 2 weeks ago. One of our guests said 2014, another 2017, since the increasement and the, the size and shape of earthquakes taking place. For me personally, I definitely started to recognize it as soon as 2020 hit and everything that we were forced and thrusted into. So you can see exactly where we are. But you know, this is the important point for me, right? We are witnessing commotions. We are witnessing calamities presently in our lifetime right now. And that's why this title of this program is that you were born for such a time as this. You were living for such a time as this. We are seeing the scriptures come alive, and we are seeing Yah's very breath. That I am in awe of, I am in wonder of, and it comforts me in a strange way. And I understand that you will understand that also, because he knows the end from the beginning. I can tell you, I have seen from 2019 to our present date that he knows the end from the beginning. And that's why I stand on this word, and that this word is my rock and your rock, because you just see it coming to pass. Luke 21. It says this, it shows us exactly what time we are in now. Why are you saying this? You know, we focus on this so much, Jess. Yes, but you know, only just yesterday or the day before yesterday, I came against a family, a beautiful family, who do not know this. And they're shepherds. They're shepherds who do not know this, leading their flock astray. And they believe they have a love for Yah, you know, but in such a wrong way. Judgment comes before the house of Yah first, before the house of God. And my concern, when you understand the times that you're in and you see something like this, what I'm about to read from Luke, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? When I hear this, I think, okay, how can I translate this to the people that we have interaction with, that we influence, that we can speak through to the programs, to change their lives, for them to consider? But this family that I met, they were on, oh, we're not interested in anything but sharing the gospel. They dismissed everything else as long as it's about sharing the gospel. What kind of gospel are they sharing? What kind of sweet candy are they serving? If things are going to be hidden under the carpet and they're not even examining it themselves, that's dangerous. And it happens all the time. And it's really sad. You know, normally I talk about this, knowing this is the mannerism of people. But this time I was actually face to face with them. And it's a long time since I've had a face to face discussion where it could have been so heated, but where I saw the smirks and certain ways to certain things, and just, oh, we just put it down as conspiracy and we move on. That's not right. You can't just look for the here and now salvation. You've got to look into the whole picture, and you have to understand it for yourselves. And they do not understand it for themselves. And so that's our duty. We three here on the program today, John, Stephen, myself, we stand as watchmen before you, because it says in Ezekiel, if you do not say, then you will have their blood on your hands. But if you say you are cleared of that, I don't want to be cleared. I want to see you released. I want to see you released and moving in truth and the true way. So that's what it's about. So let's go back to Luke 21, where verse 25 says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon, in the light in the day is how I see that, and in the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations. Everything created by his hand in creation is showing you distressing signs of the earth and the nations, what they are going through with perplexity. So that's talking about the veracity, the volume of it. The sea represents people, and the waves roaring, the tossing, the turning, the commotions. Okay, that explains it there. You cannot deny, whether you are an atheist, whether you're a believer or whatever, the times that are happening presently and where we are. Without Elohiym, guys, I don't know how someone survives, because we need Yahusha. We need that breath of the Ruach to help us and guide us in these confusing times. In the next verse, right, 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. So you can see that heaven is being shaken as things are happening on earth. This is why there are so many people in fear or denial of the times that we are in. You know, but the words of prophecy were given to us. They were given to us so that we would not have a spirit of fear, rather that we rejoice and we work it out through our salvation. And that's why it says in Luke 21 verse 8, look up, for your redemption draws near. Now, whilst I say that, I am not advocating a rapture tomorrow or anything like that, a pre-rapture stand. Please don't think that. But this is how you gird yourself, how I said last week, you gird your loins. This is how you do it, because you are prepared. This is preparedness. That requires trust, that preparedness that I'm talking about. Trust in him, trust in his word that is living, it is active, and that it is correct. Today, as believers, we live amongst the world that is threatening us with nuclear threats globally. You see that so closely, always a threat with the Russia-Ukraine situation. LGBT rights being thrown left, right, and center at us, that now that is the way that we must go. We must accept that. Transgenderism, tracking, digital ID, AI, the 15-minute smart cities, nanoparticles from the skies. You can see how it's affecting us. All these things that are happening, new world order, governments, the plans that are in place. You can see the destruction of the earth, the destroyers of this land, the satanic plans versus where we stand as a believer on the Torah and the word. And that is our strength. Not only is it our direction and our guide. My point to you again is that you and I are a light. We are ambassadors of the Torah. We are ambassadors of the word. We are ambassadors and beacons of the faith. We are heirs of the kingdom in this very dark world that we live. And we have to stand up and be taken account of, not allowing unholy things to become holy and holy things to become unholy, because that is our distinction. That's the distinction between the hireling shepherd who has a stagnated life and the apostate believer and where they are today. And that is what distinguishes us. Let your light shine before me, and may your good works be seen and glorify your Father in heaven. That is my heart for you, that you glorify Abba, Father. You don't go by your works, but his good works through you. It's not about you. It's all about him. You were born for a time such as this. Pat, Sandrea, all the different people in the comments section there. You were born for such a time as this, and viewers watching later and later. That's why it says in Corinthians, one body, but many parts. What I want to ask you today, do you know your part in the body? It's not too late to find out. In fact, you have to understand that expression, because that is Yah working through you, the Ruach working through you, the word becoming a lighthouse, and then you becoming an ambassador, a light to this world. So it's really important that you understand that. Look, I want to share with you scripture that presents today an understanding of where we have arrived in these end times. I find the book of Fourth Esdras, Second Esdras to some, so beautiful. And I know that the panel here also agree with that. It was removed, it was canonized, but it was removed. But it's so powerful. And it speaks just like Enoch, the first chapter of Enoch, into our situation, into our times right now. So 4 Ezra or 2nd Esdras 9, verse 1 says, he answered me then and said, measure you the time diligently in itself. And when you see part of the sign, part then it shall come to pass. Now, that's complicated English, I know, but what it's saying there, and I'm going to read it again in context as I end, is when you see predicted signs passing, come to pass, then you will know. In verse 2, it says, then you shall understand that this is the very same time where Elohiym will begin to visit the world which he made. That brings chills to me, it brings comfort to me, and it brings an answer to me as well. It gives me that direction that I need. 3, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, that's referring to the tumult of people, the ethnicities that I mentioned before, and the wavering of leaders. Then you will see these are signs, and complementary to Matthew and the other Olivet Discourse chapters as well. Then you shall understand that Elohiym spoke of these things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning. Remember how we started. He knows the end from the beginning. I just want to bring some points out. Earthquakes, they've intensified. We've said that. We don't need to really look at that even anymore, other than thinking of what's happened in Turkey and how many smaller and greater continued impacts they are having to date. The tumult of people, that's referring to a state of confusion, disorder, disturbance, disarray, uprising. Set apart these last 3 years, you can go back further than that. You can just see an increasement, an increment in that happening. Intrigues of nations, that's talking about arousing the interest and curiosity of nations to make secret plans to do something illicit or detrimental to someone. This is what it means in the Strongs. This is what it means in the dictionary. So you're looking at things like the New World Order. I call it the destroyers of the earth, Freemasonry, included in every fabrication of our world, politics, education, medicine, you name it, they are there in it. Wavering of leaders, that means to sway or to flutter to and fro, become unsteady, fall or give way, indecision, doubt, trampling, a shaking, a fluctuation, confusion of princes, disorder, perplexity, disorientation. And it comes back to that point that we bring out in our programs with Shane and Zen, where they're specifically talking about leaders being selected but not elected. And then when you look deeper to it, how they're all related and part of the 13 bloodline and then the higher bloodlines there. All these things, do you see how intrinsically they are, and how we have to know the word and how we have to know what is going on in this time? And that is why Elohiym knows the end from the beginning and showed us these things. It's happening in the midst of our lives. This is prophecy unfolding. We are living in the prophecy. We are part of that prophecy. Don't be confused. Confusion means the root of it is Babel. Yeah? Go read Genesis 4. Specifically verse 11, and you will see that for yourself. For us as the believers, a set and called out one, there is no confusion. We set ourselves and we move away from that so that we're not tossed to and fro, and we can understand. We do not fear. Yah and Abba Father are with us. He has given us the Ruach, not for fear, but so that we can move and understand in power and love and a sound mind. So despite all that happens around us, we can still worship. We hit in spirit and truth. We can still have those dynamic times of prayer, the word becoming such truth to us and alive in a way that, it takes you into that secret place of prayer and revelation. Revelation 17:17 says this, for God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give the kingdom unto the beast until the words of Elohiym shall be fulfilled. This means it's in Yah's hand, which means it is by his hand and that he is in control. Guys, I'm going to come back, I think, and read after Ezra, 4th Ezra 9, 1-13, because we'll bring into context everything that we said. I love the very last verse, and I'm going to read it again after. Be not curious how the wicked shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose this world is, and for whom the world is created. That is our basis there. That is our love. That is our heart cry. And that is what we are after. That's why we do what we do and bring you what we are even today. For who the world was created, we inquire for the righteous and for those who will be saved, how to encourage and move the elect and group together. The message you just read is based on 4 Ezra, also known as Second Esdras, chapter 9, verses 1 to 13. He answered me then and said, measure you the time diligently in itself, and when you see part of the signs pass, which I have told you before, then shall you understand that it is the very same time wherein Elohiym will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then will you understand that Elohiym spoke of these things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world, it has a beginning and has an end, and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of Elohiym have planned beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved for the said perils, and shall see my Yahusha in the land and within the borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. They shall see a pitiful case where those who have abused my ways, that have cast them away despitefully, shall dwell in torments, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. And they that have loathed my Torah while they yet had liberty, and when as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. Therefore be not curious how the wicked shall be punished, and when. Rather inquire how the righteous shall be saved, who the world is, and for whom the world is created. In verses 22 and 21, it's for the righteous here, and so beautifully a great way to end. And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape from the cluster, and a plant from a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which is born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant for which great labor have I made it perfect. Amen. So I bless you with that word, and we open up with this right now and see what's on the heart of Dr. Pidgeon, and then we're going to bring John Barr on. Dr. P, welcome.
Ever seen a blind man cross the road, trying to make the other side? Ever seen a young girl growing old, trying to make herself a bride? So what becomes of you, my love?
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Pray that he's still out there.